Love. For some, it is a transformed form of affection. For others, a storm that turns the brain's chemistry upside down. As happiness hormones surge all at once, the mind enters an unusual state. Love, passion, attachment, excitement, fear, and anxiety. Opposing emotions are experienced at the same time. You may be in love with a person, with a city, with a country, or even with God. Some conquer nations for love. Others give up their lives for a feeling they cannot abandon. Throughout history, this force has caused cities to be built, poems to be written, and wars to begin. It is a power that both heals and destroys the human soul. Today, love has evolved into something entirely different. In the past, people crossed mountains for someone they had never seen. Now, with a single swipe of a screen, we find a heart, or lose one. In this video, we go beyond romantic stories and bring together what science, history, religions, art, and philosophy have been saying for millennia. That is exactly why we ask, when started? Chapter 1. The Chemical Symphony of the Brain and Evolution. Although many see love as nothing more than emotion, science tells us that love begins in the brain, written into nerves, hormones, and neural networks. When you fall in love, the brain operates in three main stages. The desire stage. Sex hormones, testosterone and estrogen, prepare the body for attraction. This is the oldest and most instinctive layer of love. The romantic attraction stage. This is the area that appears highlighted in red on MRI scans. The brain turns into a racing circuit. Dopamine rises to pleasure and reward. Norepinephrine increases to heart palpitations, sweating, loss of appetite. Serotonin drops to obsessive thinking. That is why someone in love thinks about the same person all day long. Scientifically, this is a serotonin decrease similar to obsessive-compulsive disorder. The jolt you feel when someone catches your eye is entirely driven by norepinephrine. The attachment stage. When the relationship stabilizes, two hormones take over. Oxytocin, touch, bonding, trust. Vasopressin, loyalty, protection, possessiveness. Oxytocin creates the feeling of peace when you are together. Vasopressin forms the biological foundation of the fear of loss. In other words, all the shades of love, orange, pink, even dark, are produced inside a chemical laboratory. Why do we fall in love from an evolutionary perspective? According to evolutionary biology, love did not emerge by chance. It evolved as a survival strategy. Human infants are born vulnerable, requiring long-term bonding between parents. To ensure the continuation of the species, nature designed love as a biological adhesive. Traces of this program can be seen not only in humans, but also in prairie voles that are monogamous and fall into depression when they lose a partner, elephants that mourn their dead, swans that remain paired for life. Humans, however, separated this evolutionary mechanism from other species by assigning deep meaning to it. Chapter 2. The First Records in the Dusty Pages of History. The written traces of love extend to the clay tablets, papyrus scrolls, and stones of ancient civilizations. The oldest known record appears in Sumerian tablets dating back to 2000 BCE, telling the story of the goddess Inanna and the mortal shepherd Dumuzi. "Your love is sweet like honey in my heart." This sentence is considered humanity's first written declaration of love. Similarly, ancient Egyptian love poems from around 1500 BCE describe love as a physical and sensory energy that floods the human soul like the overflowing Nile. These poems prove the power of love in everyday life. Eastern and Western mythologies also treat love as a universal theme. Niulang and Xenu, the star-crossed lovers separated by the Milky Way in Chinese mythology. Orpheus's attempt to rescue Eurydice from the underworld in ancient Greece. Layla and Mecnun in the Turkish Islamic tradition. All reflect love's connection to longing, doubt, and inner journeys. Chapter 3. Love through religion, art, and psychoanalysis. In belief systems, love is the bridge between the human and the divine. In Islamic mysticism, thinkers such as Rumi and Ibn Arabi define love as the essence of existence and the driving force of the universe. In Christianity, love appears in three forms: eros, passion; philia, friendship; agape, God's unconditional love. Art history reflects this transformation. During the Renaissance, love was depicted as an aesthetic ideal and divine beauty. In the 18th century Romantic era, as seen in Goethe's works, it became pain, longing, and inner turmoil. Modern cinema now questions love with all its imperfections and asks, why does it fade? From a psychological perspective, Freud saw love as the unconscious reflection of childhood attachments in adulthood. Modern psychology, through John Allen Lee's classification, divides love into 6 categories: passionate, eros; playful, ludus; friendly, storge; obsessive, mania; practical, pragma; selfless, agape. This diversity proves that love is not a single emotion, but a complex psychological map. Chapter 4: A Philosophical Question: Consciousness and Existence. The true beginning of love lies in the moment humans gained self-awareness. Because love is not merely feeling, it is consciously choosing someone and assigning value to them. Anthropologists consider the first family structures formed by hominids around 2 million years ago to be the biological prototype of love. As consciousness evolved, this bond deepened, transforming from simple closeness into meaningful choice. Evolutionary psychology explains love as a survival mechanism. Yet there is a contradiction. The person in love takes greater risks, becomes more fragile, more vulnerable. This suggests that love is not just a simple adaptation, but a complex product of consciousness. Philosophically, thinkers like Ibn Arabi and Spinoza view love not as an outcome, but as a beginning. From this perspective, love is not a feeling, but a principle of attraction, present alongside the universe itself. The pain love brings proves its connection to awareness. The moment a person incorporates another's existence into their own self, they are shaken by the responsibility of that union. Chapter 5: The Dark Side of Love: Passion and Destruction. Behind love's bright surface lies a dark realm of passion, obsession, and destruction. High dopamine levels create a natural drug-like effect in the brain. During the passion phase, reason shuts down, risk-taking increases, and the ground is laid for great tragedies throughout history. In psychology, the obsessive love syndrome known as limerence traps individuals in idealized, obsessive thoughts. This is not attachment to love itself, but to the fantasy love creates. Uncontrolled jealousy, born from an evolutionary fear of loss, can transform into a force leading to wars, betrayals, destruction. History and literature are filled with lives ruined by love. The Trojan War fought for Helen. Cleopatra and Antony plunging Rome into civil war. The Taj Mahal, a monument of mourning. Modern science also reveals love's darker psychological sides: addiction and loss of identity. Because the brain integrates the loved one into the self-map, when loss occurs, a person does not lose only the other, but a part of themselves. Love itself is not dark. It is the shadows within humans, fear of loss, insecurity, the need for control, that fall upon this intense emotion and turn light into darkness. Chapter 6: What do humans love and why? The ways humans love do not fit into a single mold. Every bond has its own depth and motivation. Family love is the oldest biological bond, shaped by oxytocin. In ancient Greece, philia is the most sustainable form of love, free from competition and passion. Divine love, in Mevlânâ's words, is a spiritual journey that takes a person beyond the self in search of greater meaning. Humans do not only love people, they can love a city, an ideal, or an art form with the same intensity. This shows that love is defined less by its object and more by the meaning it creates within the individual. Chapter 7. The Dialects of Love Across Geography and Culture. Although love is a universal emotion, the way it is lived splits into different dialects across geographies. In Japanese culture, love is quietly implied through mono no aware, the melancholic beauty of impermanence. In India, love, through kama energy, is both a bodily and spiritual rhythm. In Turkish and Central Asian traditions, love, as seen in the story of Khürrem and Aslı, is an epic journey where courage, effort, and character are tested. In the Arab world, love is a burning passion, woven with poetry, transcending reason and society. In Europe, the Romantic era defined love as an individual right and a space of freedom. In Africa, love is less about individuality and more about social harmony and ritual. In Latin America, love, intertwined with dance, music, and fatalism, erupts as dramatic expression. People love everywhere in the world, but each culture reinterprets this feeling through its own values and wounds. Love is not a single language. It is a shared melody sung in different tones by every heart. Chapter 8. Love in the Digital Age. The Shadow of Algorithms. Love is no longer written in letters, but in notifications. It no longer lives in eye contact, but in emojis on screens. We live in the fastest era of communication in history. Yet perhaps this age is raising the loneliest lovers of all time. In the past, people walked for days just to see someone. Today, a single swipe to the right is enough. The mechanics of love have changed. Algorithms have entered the scene. Modern dating apps have turned love into a probability equation. An invisible algorithm decides who you will see. In this era, love has evolved from natural selection to computer selection. Premium memberships, boost options, subscription models. Emotions have become more marketable than ever before. Social media platforms have transformed love into a performance space. Love is now proven through photos, considered non-existent if not shared, stripped of privacy. Displayable love overtakes genuine emotion. In the modern age, intimacy increases, but attachment decreases. Because excessive choice psychologically weakens bonding. People think they cannot love, when what they are actually experiencing is decision fatigue. This digital exhaustion creates new concepts: ghosting, orbiting, breadcrumbing, silent, invisible pains that leave marks. Algorithms do not tell us whom to love, but they do determine whom we see. And the people we see shape our emotions. Modern love now operates within a triangle of consciousness, biology, algorithm. Chapter 9. Does love end? The course of transformation. Love's hardest question. Does love end? If a feeling begins, does it naturally end one day? Or does it simply change form? Science does not answer this with a clear yes or no, but it does say this: dopamine surges, waves of passion, last on average 12 to 36 months, because the brain cannot sustain this level of intensity for long. This is not an ending. It is love transforming from fire to warm embers. Romantic attraction may fade, but attachment formed through oxytocin and vasopressin can continue. Psychology says, love does not end. The relationship structure dissolves. Love is an energy. A relationship is the structure that carries it. If the structure collapses, the energy does not disappear. Neuroscience reveals something striking. The brain recognizes an old love even years later. A voice, a name, a scent. Reward and memory centers reactivate. What does this mean? Love is never fully erased. It sleeps. Philosophy approaches the question more sharply. According to Plato, love is longing for the ideal. Humans love because they are incomplete. Incompleteness never ends. Therefore, love does not either. Mevlânâ says, "You burn, but you do not turn to ash." According to Ibn Arabi, there is no end in love, only transformation. Kierkegaard views it this way: love does not end, the person simply stops choosing it. Sociology adds, in the modern age, what ends is not love, but the time allocated to it. The world moves too fast. People grow tired. When all answers come together, love does not end. Its form does. Love changes. People mistake this change for an ending. Chapter 10. Why does love exist? Because humans exist. Humans did not invent love. Humans are the result of love. Love does not exist between two bodies, but at the invisible point where two consciousnesses touch. Love is not a goal. Love is a beginning. Perhaps the universe's first spark. Perhaps humanity's last hope. But one thing is certain: as long as humans exist, love will never end.